Welcome to The Explainer. You know, we tend to think of our bodies as these incredible biological machines. But what if there's more going on? What if there's some kind of invisible force keeping everything running in harmony? Today, we're digging into a pretty radical idea from the history of medicine that says exactly that. We're talking about Samuel Hahnemann's Lebenskraft, or the life force.
So let's just start with that question right there. Our modern world pretty much treats the body like a super complex machine, right? A bunch of parts, chemical reactions, things we can measure. But what if there was another layer to it all? An invisible, maybe even intelligent force that's really in charge of the whole system. That's the rabbit hole we're going down today.
And don't worry, we've got a roadmap. First, we're going to define this invisible ruler. Then, we'll see what happens when that force gets out of tune. After that, we'll figure out how to read the language of sickness, explore this strange idea of healing by similar suffering, and finally, see how this all created two worlds of medicine that are still around today. All right, let's dive in.
Okay, first up, let's get to the heart of it. What in the world did Hahnemann mean by this term, Lebenskraft?
So, according to the guy who came up with it, Samuel Hahnemann, the Lebenskraft isn't something you can, find with a scalpel or see under a microscope. He called it geistartig, which is German for spirit-like. Think of it as a dynamic, living energy, an invisible power that takes the raw materials of our body, the flesh and bone, and animates it, turning into a living, feeling, self-healing person. And this quote from Hahnemann's work really drives the point home. He's basically saying that without this Lebenskraft, your body is just stuff, inert matter. It can't feel anything, it can't do anything, it can't protect itself. In his view, this force is literally the difference between a rock and a living human being.
So if this life force is the master controller, what does that mean for being healthy versus being sick? Hahnemann had some really specific ideas about this.
When you're healthy, the life force is king. Hahnemann actually called it an autocracy. It's ruling completely, keeping everything in perfect harmony and balance. But sickness, this is where it gets really interesting. He didn't see sickness as a broken part. He saw it as a Verstimmung, a great German word that means something is deranged or out of tune. The best way to think about it is like a perfectly tuned guitar being knocked out of tune by something. The problem isn't the guitar itself, the problem is the harmony is gone. Sickness for him was a disturbance of the force, not the body.
And that leads to a totally different way of looking at symptoms. I mean, if the sickness is some invisible, energetic thing, how on earth are you supposed to know it's even there? Well, according to Hahnemann, it has its own language.
See, for Hahnemann, the entire collection of symptoms, and I mean everything, physical, mental, emotional, that's the only way the life force can show you that it's struggling. The symptoms aren't just random annoyances. Nope. They are the direct external picture of that internal disharmony. And he believed that once you've gathered all of them, the whole disease is laid open. You can see exactly what's wrong.
And this right here, this is the crucial takeaway. In this way of thinking, you don't fight the symptoms. A fever, a cough, a feeling of anxiety, these aren't the enemy you need to crush. They're valuable clues. The symptoms aren't the problem. As it says here, they are the map. A map that shows you exactly where the real trouble is.
So if you don't attack the symptoms, then how do you heal? This brings us to the most unique and frankly the most counterintuitive part of this philosophy. It's a process that's not about fighting the body, but about cleverly guiding that life force back to health. Okay, so let's walk through this, because it's a trip. Step 1, you give a remedy that would actually cause similar symptoms in a healthy person. This creates a slightly stronger but artificial remedy illness. Now here's the key move. The theory goes that the life force can only focus on one problem at a time, the bigger one. So it completely drops its fight against the original natural illness and turns its full attention to fighting this new artificial invader. And because this remedy illness is designed to be weak and temporary, the life force wins, and it wins fast. Then, when the dust settles, both the artificial illness and the original one it replaced are gone. The life force is free, and boom, health is back.
As you can probably guess, this whole approach created a massive, fundamental split between Hahnemann's philosophy and the regular medicine of his time, which he nicknamed allopathy.
Let's just put these two worlds side by side. You can see they are polar opposites. Homeopathy says illness is an energetic disturbance.
Allopathy, at least in Hahnemann's view, says it's a material problem. Bad fluids, germs, you name it. For homeopathy, symptoms are a map you need to follow. For allopathy, they're an enemy you need to suppress. And that leads to totally different strategies. Homeopathy tries to gently stimulate with a similar force, while allopathy hits back with an opposite force, like taking an anti-inflammatory for inflammation.
So let's wrap this all up. What is this life force, really? Well, it's that invisible, dynamic energy that makes us alive. It's the absolute ruler when we're healthy. It gets deranged or knocked out of tune when we get sick. It speaks to us through our symptoms. That's its language. And most importantly, in this system, it's the hero of the story, the central actor that you have to stimulate, not shut down to actually get better.
And all of this leaves us with a pretty big question to chew on. Hahnemann came up with this idea 200 years ago. Today, in our world of genetics, microbiology, and advanced chemistry, what is the role for an idea that sees life, health, and sickness not as a chemical equation, but as a state of harmony? It makes you wonder, is health just the absence of a pathogen, or is it something more? Is it about balance? A question worth thinking about. Thanks for joining The Explainer.